Basically a long-term stress test.
Hypex supplies high-performance Class D amplifiers, DSP and power supply modules to professional audio, high-end hi-fi and active loudspeakers. This is where they make them.
So we started here in Nibong Tubal. We started as a joint venture. We didn't start in Nibong Tubal, we started in this area basically in 2012 as a joint venture. Eventually we stopped with the joint venture and we fully acquired by Hypex in May 2015. So 11 years ago basically the Seetek as we currently know it started. On the left hand side you see the building where we're in at the moment. So we moved here June last year from a previous location which is roughly a kilometer away from here. And everything here is about quality. So everything you see is aimed at quality, delivering high quality products. I will say to potential clients, if you want to move here and you want to have the low price, we're not the right company. We go for quality. Quality and client dedication. So we're a key part of a Hypex Group. So Hypex Group, as we know, is a leading specialist in the production and the development of Class D amplifiers. And we are basically their manufacturing part. Hypex is based in Groningen in the Netherlands with an R&D center in Eindhoven as well. Next to PCBAs we also offer some box build capabilities, mainly at the moment for Fusion Amp, so a Hypex product Fusion Amp. We have our own dedicated new product introduction team because we have a lot of new products coming up. Hypex is developing new products at a high pace. So they develop, we build the prototypes. There's an extensive knowledge and information share between our local MPI teams and the research and development teams in the Netherlands. And step by step then we build from prototype to final product. So basically what we do here is building those Class D amplifiers and some third-party products. Some power supply models, plate amplifiers, DSP boards, general PCBAs sometimes, and we do some box assembly, mainly at the Fusion Amp and the Fusion Amp products. We'll show you later as well.
Okay.
This is a bit of the stream, but we will see how it works downstairs. In-house quality function, so everything, and we'll show you later as well, everything starts with in-house quality. So goods get delivered, checked by in-house quality, do all the quality checks, making sure everything we get in is already meeting the requirements. Testing, so we have our own testing. Everything that leaves this company, all the boards, all the Hypex boards, all the boards for Mola Mola will be tested. Basically, every board has its own test program. One-on-one will be tested. So once a board leaves the factory, we know the board is performing in accordance with the standards of Hypex. That's very important. That's basically in a nutshell what we do. But the best thing, of course, is to walk around and show you.
Yeah.
You have any questions up front?
Yeah, just a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is, so from this factory,
Yeah.
where does the item go? Do they go to the customers? Do they go to your OEM?
They go to either Netherlands or we have a warehouse in Hong Kong. And then we ship it out. So the warehouse in Hong Kong is basically delivering all the Asian clients, and the warehouse from the Netherlands is delivering the other clients. Yeah.
Then the next question is, this factory location here in Penang, is there a particular reason why you've chosen Penang?
Not really. I think in the history, but I wasn't there back in 2012, they just found the right partner in this area. They were in Park Buntar, 6 kilometers away from here. And then of course we had the right staff already working for us. So for us, very important to continue with the people we know and who know our product. If we would have moved, let's say, to Johor or whatever, you need to do a whole new hiring round. We have a lot of staff which is here already 7, 8, some of them are already 12, 13 years here in this company from the start. So they know exactly what we need and how to build.
And how about Mola Mola versus the Hypex modules? How does that differ in terms
The Mola Mola has different boards. So the boards, the technology in the Mola Mola is different from the technology we build for OEMs. It's a different setup. It's a different setup.
But in terms of the production tolerances, things like
Same.
that,
Same.
Okay,
Yeah.
same. Okay.
Same.
It's just the components, the design.
It's the components, it's the design, it's every component built in that is the highest quality there is from a design perspective. Not from a component perspective, because for the rest we also use those components. But it's the design that makes the Mola Mola. It's the board design. Yeah, I'm not an RD guy, yeah? But it's a specific line. So the boards we build there, you won't find in the other products. It's a different Mola Mola design.
Okay.
Hello. So this is incoming. So here all goods come in from suppliers and will be checked by the quality team. So incoming quality inspection. So they take samples, they do the measurements, they see whatever we ordered is the right way. So once they're in here, goods are moved up. So goods are moved into the warehouse, registered by the warehouse team, as you can feel, stored in an air-conditioned environment. So both humidity and temperature here are controlled in according with the IPC standards, which is all monitored because we have a temperature meter and a hydrogen meter over there. So this is where everything's stored, registered. Once there's a production run, they will hand out the components and they will be handed over to production. These reels you will see later back in production again, we use. So the very small component, a lot of components are there on the reels, we will see them used downstairs. And the rest of course is all the components we need to make the boards.
A lot of different supplier names and
yes.
location where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It all comes together.
Come all together, yeah. There's of course a lot of Chinese suppliers because the whole electronic business is China nowadays. But also Japanese, Taiwanese. So every component, we know how long we can open it, then we have to store it back. But after a while, we no longer can use them. Because after being exposed to certain humidity for a while, at a certain moment, we need to scrap it. So that's all registered in a correct way. It's indicated by the manufacturer how long it can be. And what we also do once we open it, we have to close it again. So the team is sealing it again. Then of course we also store a lot of non-critical components which don't have to be stored in a conditioned warehouse. Carton boxes and everything you need, indirect materials, all kind of materials we don't use. So we store here. Different, you feel, it's hot. Yeah. We can cool a bit, we're not cooling it because energy consumption is also important for multiple reasons. But these are the other materials we need to basically run the factory. Of course, packing is very important. If you deal with high-end components, we pack in a very correct way. Goods are shipped all around the globe, so we need to make sure that they're well protected once we ship them out, so they won't get damaged. Another important part is some of the components we need to prepare before we start production. So we do some sub-assembly here where we prepare the components. We'll show you in this room, which is basically component preparation. So here you see they prepare the components. They need to adjust and they cut off something so they can be used for manual insert and soldering in a later phase of the production process. Over here we already do some heatsink assembly, where we do basically heat sinks, as of course the amplifiers are generating a lot of heat. Even when they're Class D amplifiers, they still generate a lot of heat. So we need to have quite large heat sinks in some cases. So we assemble them here, and then they will be brought downstairs for further production. So here we're also preparing with some special tape, also against heat. Yeah, kind of a copperized tape. So all the component preparation is here. Whenever necessary, we prepare the components here before they go down and are being released to production. So goods are being transported downstairs by lift. And then here we have the three SMT lines, so the surface mount technology lines, where the components are being placed on the board. We will start over there. So here you basically see the birth of a Mola Mola board. So here we have the bare board. And this is the first step. So this board we get in from the suppliers. Then the first step is either to apply solder paste or glue to prepare for the next phase. Because in the end it needs to be soldered. You see, Mola Mola.
So a couple of minutes you put it in the solder paste, then you can start. Just bring one more. Lucky they got this model.
So what you will see in a moment, the board will enter the machine. The components are picked up from the reel So these reels contain all the components, picked up and placed on exactly the right spot of the board. It's not there yet. Oh, there it is. Do some calibration. Okay, there we go. Picking up, placing. Picking up, placing. Picking up some different components. Moving to the next machine, basically doing the same cycle again, but for different components. Depends, of course, how many components we need to place on the board. So basically here, all the chips will be placed.
Okay.
So those are the components. Here we place the chips. Chips, ICs. So this here we do she's doing a visual inspection of the board because it's one of the first boards we produce. Visual inspection before it's going through the oven. So now it's entering the oven. So the board will be heated to a certain temperature. We applied the solder paste, so the components are already on the solder paste in the board. Due to the temperature, it will be soldered. This machine, yeah. So it's going. This machine has basically it's a heated zone, so it will be led. The board will be led through the heated zone. Solder paste will do its work and solder the components. So the board we just saw entering there will soon come out of here. Certain temperatures, and we also have a way to, a couple of times per day, we test the temperature, see if the temperature curves are correct. So it's also very important that that whole temperature is correct, and we check that on a very regular basis to make sure the boards will meet the components. Too cold, not correct. Too hot, also not correct. That will impact the components. So. And here you see from the bare board where we started, you see the components placed, you see the chip placed. So once this is done, we move to manual insert. So that's over there. So basically we follow a lean manufacturing. So we snake the production through in a logical way through the factory. Important step in between is AOI, so automated visual inspection. We do over there. So every board will be checked. After we run through the SMTs, we will do a visual inspection, machine inspection over here. So basically the machine is programmed in such a way that it recognizes if there's a component missing or a component is the other way around, placed the other way around or upside down. The machine will reject it. See, she just spotted something, she put a small sticker on, there's an issue there on the board. Board will be placed in a reject container and then it will be moved to a debug department. They will have a look. Whenever necessary, we place the component with the right one. Even if we placed it in the SMT machines, we still can do manual placement as well. So the ladies are so skilled, they can take it off and replace it with a small component. And some of the components are really small, but they're so skilled in their they're so skilled they know exactly what to do. Yeah. So this is called AOI, automatic optical inspection. So that one is for the larger boards, this one is for smaller boards.
It's like a power supply system.
That's a power supply, yeah. So the next phase will be that we go to manual insert. So we won't take this board, but we'll show you a different board. So here we take the boards that are already, the small components already placed by the SMTs. And here we place the components that we can only manual place. So the ladies here, in accordance with the specifications, place all the components. They have the components in front of them. And every colleague knows exactly what to place where. As I explained before, they're very knowledgeable. This is their position already, some cases already for a couple of years, so they know exactly how to build. Basically the next phase is wave soldering. We'll show you here, happening in this machine. So the board is there in the final phase. It will be basically automatically fed into the machine. Over there you see, if you look up, you see the hot solder. And the board, just the connectors are fed through that hot solder. It's a wave, that's why we call it wave soldering. It's a wave of molten solder. So here you see the machine, you see the boards coming out of the wave soldering. And then the colleagues over here do a check, visual check. If all the solder is okay, if not, then they will do some manual soldering. There are some holes we close and some components we cover with a specific tape because they cannot be touched by solder. We do it that way. But this is also the result of the quality commitment. So everything will be checked. So some solder points that are not meeting the requirements. She picks them up, she have a look. So basically, here we insert components we cannot solder on the wave soldering machine. We just saw in the previous process. So this is where we manually insert and manual solder components. As we speak, they produce a very small board. So this is the time being they only do soldering, but given that the points are very close to each other, the solder points, it definitely needs to be manual soldered. So these colleagues are definitely highly trained on manual soldering, and basically this is the only task they do during the day is manual soldering. So after this phase we will do the visual inspection again, the automated visual inspection we already saw, so we will do that again to see if all the soldering on this board is okay. Then the next phase will be the testing. So we go to testing now. Just a small step in between. This is the debug room. So if we have products that fail the testing, can either be visual or can be automated testing, boards will be brought to this room and our engineers over here will have a look at the board, do all the measurements, take out the faulty component, replace the component and bring it back in the cycle, do the test again, and in 90% of the cases we fix the problem and we have a quality board again. So we do several types of testing. So some of the tests are aimed at putting high power through a board, to see if it fit that high power profile. We do fully functional testing, all based on test software provided by Hypex. So over here we do a plate amplifier, we're currently testing it. So based on software we basically got from our research and development teams in the Netherlands. So here we make sure that the boards are meeting all the requirements. And we have several types of testers, ranging from older systems to latest technology systems.
Using the audio precision to test the noise and the distortion.
Yeah, well, they have their software, so they put the software through. The software is simulating how this is a full plate amplifier. You see, the fusion amp, which is usually built in the back of a speaker. So they put in signals and they expect a certain signal back. If that's not meeting it, then it's a fail.
Okay.
So this is the final test. So every board will do the final test. Every board has a specific test software we run. So we connect it in a specific test jig, Hypex built test jig.
Okay.
So now it's running all the steps coming from the specific program written by Hypex R&D test engineers specifically for this board.
These are some of the testing equipment.
Yes. See, it's built by Hypex.
So everyone gets tested?
Every board, one-on-one tested. No board leaves the factory untested. So if you buy a Hypex board, you know it's tested, that it's meeting all the requirements as set in the specifications. And of course also all the boards we build into Mola Mola tested. Okay, here we do the test runs for Mola Mola assembly. So basically, we already build a number because we do a number of test versions. They all are going to the Netherlands for research and development purposes. And so this is basically where we start building them recently.
This looks like the Tambaki.
Yes, we only do test builds for Tambaki here. The rest we don't do. We think we can roughly build, if they get more used to building, that we can build 2 per person per day. But also here we just saw the test equipment. All the boards you see here have been tested on the test equipment. So they meet all requirements. They have all the visual tests, have all the tests we've seen.
These are some of the test builds.
Yeah, these are the test builds, so they go back to research and development. That's why they also numbered. And we also see what operator built them. They can go to the R&D, they will do their analysis, they will look at the build quality.
So this is the trial, make sure that it meets the standards of the
Yeah.
Mola Mola.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the majority of the Mola Mola is built in the Netherlands, but they asked us to do some trial versions, so that's where we are at the moment.
Interesting.
There's a lot of optical fiber connections, which is very precise.
But this is only built in this room, so we keep all the. So they have controllable. That's why we also have we have 2 operators basically who trained themselves and got instructed to build. So it's for them also a big step up from different assembly to Mola Mola. But then we need to see where we are. But also the big plate amplifiers you just saw, we also build in this room. So this is really a assembly, high-end audio assembly room. But as I said, the big volume, the new Ossetras, the Makuas, all the others are all manufactured in the Netherlands, as are the Tambakis. Except this lot then. And the other materials all come from Germany. So all the metals come from a German manufacturer. And they were sent here. Of course, the boards we always manufacture, so some parts we already manufacture. Power supplies and also the amplifiers, of course, generate heat. And you need to get rid of the heat in your product. So we apply heat sinks. They have to be built and screwed onto the board. You see that happening here. So my colleague here is basically screwing the heat sink you see, and that's a torque screwdriver we were discussing before. So exactly the amount of force is being used, that we make sure that it's correctly tight. Not too tight, not too loose. So over here, this is burn-in room. Basically a long-term stress test for products to see if they perform on the longer run. A couple of hours, we really stress test them here.
So how long are they kept in this?
Depends a bit on the product.
2 years.
How long? How long this one? 4 hours? Yeah. So this one we do 4 hours power supply. SMPS 1200, eh?
2 hours.
Oh, 2 hour. Oh, 2 hour. This one we do too. Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
NC all 4 hours.
Ah, okay, okay. So it depends a bit on the product, but this is really to stress test them, see how they perform. Also, important part is gluing. To avoid that components start vibrating and solders getting loose and all sort of things, we glue. We glue some of the components together. That happens on all the boards. So these ladies are doing the gluing. So gluing, then the product is done. Product is done now. So everything we produce, products have been over the production line, have been extensively tested, meeting all requirements we have. They have been glued, so now the final phase is final visual inspection. So here we do a final visual inspection. So my colleague here is basically checking with her own eyes to see if all the boards meet all requirements from a visual perspective. So they have been tested, we know they work, but this is okay, are they looking also the way they should do? Is there solder missing, or is there glue missing, or in some cases, and I forgot to show you one phase. We go back there. Are there some things missing? And then she will basically reject. So this one, basically see, she rejected for whatever reason. Many. So that could be an issue we didn't spot before. So she reject them.
So this is a reject.
This is reject, yeah.
Yeah, I can see. Put on the notification.
Yeah, over everywhere where there is that point, there is an issue, and this one seems to be all the same. So there is an issue, and will be brought back.
But look,
Yeah,
how small.
yeah. But they're trained on it. The whole day they do this, and if necessary, we can also use that microscope to even amplify. When we follow the ICP standards, they talk about a certain magnification, etc. So final visual inspection. Every board gets visually inspected. So basically we have a virtual wall here. So this is all production. So the reporting line is into the production department. Over here we had to quality department. Different reporting line as well. Independent reporting line into the head of operations. Quality department again is doing a one-on-one visual inspection. The same inspection happens there. They do the same.
So it's double.
It's double. We do a double quality check, yeah. To make sure all the boards are meeting all the requirements. And over here we are the final step of a Mola Mola board. These parts will be packed, shipped to the Netherlands for Mola Mola assembly. And this part is for the Makua. Well, then we're almost done. Then we come to the packing department. So packing is being prepared here. Boards are being packed in protective bags, ESD bags, so to avoid any issues with that. and then of course built or packed into carton boxes, high quality carton boxes, making sure that the boards are properly protected to be shipped to either Europe or here in Asia. And also here we have quality department doing the necessary checks. This is a colleague from quality and a colleague from the packaging department. Well, basically this was the whole process for how we build the boards, how we build the Mola Mola boards, of course. All the testing, all the quality checks, the way we pack, the way we started with assembling the Mola Molas. So I hope this gives a good overview of what we do here within Seetek, how we build the high-class Class D amplifiers for Hypex, and yeah, that's basically who we are, what we do, and something we really enjoy doing here. Thank you.